when Aerial Powers stepped onto the court in a Fever jersey. Yes, the Indiana Fever, of all teams, the temperature in the building didn't just rise. It spiked. And not because she's back in the league on a hardship contract. Not because Indiana's lineup is basically a game of who's still standing. No, this moment is electric because of who's standing on the other sideline. Cheryl Reeve, the woman who benched her, the coach who iced her out, the architect of one of the most notorious passive-aggressive coach-player feuds we've ever seen in the WNBA. And now, they're back in the same arena, on opposite ends, in different colors. And you know it's personal. Let's go back for a second because this isn't just
If you're here for the real story and not the filtered version, subscribe. And if you're sticking around for the next meltdown, you better definitely subscribe.
beef. It's a slow-cooked, years-in-the-making, multi-course feast of animosity. When Powers played under Reeve on the Minnesota Lynx, it was never sunshine and layups. It was a constant tug-of-war. Fiery personality versus ironclad system. Powers wanted freedom. Reeve wanted discipline. Powers thrived off emotion. Reeve coached like she was running a machine. Spoiler, it didn't work. The playing time got shorter. The post-game quotes got icier. And behind the scenes, it was all cold shoulders and glare emoji energy. But the moment it really got petty? Oh, that happened on a plane. Reeve literally switched seats on a team flight so she didn't have to sit next to Powers. You can't make that up. That's not just shade. That's aviation warfare. And now, after all that, after being effectively shut out of the Lynx rotation, pushed to the margins of the league, and doubted by just about everyone, Aerial Powers is back. But this time, she's not just playing. She's coming for revenge. See, Indiana didn't just sign Powers to patch up an injury crisis. They handed her a spotlight, a stage, a second chance that just so happened to line up perfectly with a showdown against her ex-coach. Coincidence? Please. This is Shonda Rhimes-level drama, and everybody knows it. Now picture this. Tip-off hits, and Powers is locked in. Her body language? Laser-focused. Her eyes? Burning holes in Cheryl Reeve's soul from 30 feet away. Every move she makes is a statement. Every basket, every assist, every dive on the floor, it's all coded with one message. You messed up. And don't get it twisted. Reeve knows exactly what's happening. She's not smiling. She's not clapping. She's watching like a general watching a former soldier defect to the enemy and thrive. But she's also calculating. Because Cheryl Reeve didn't build a dynasty in Minnesota by accident. She's cold, strategic. She sees Ariel's confidence and starts plotting how to strip it away. Cue the defense. Reeve sends double teams. She switches long defenders onto Powers. She draws up schemes specifically designed to frustrate her. You can almost hear her thinking, let's see how tough she really is. But Powers? She's not folding. She's hitting contested jumpers. She's pushing the pace. She's waving off screens and calling her own number. And every time she scores, you can feel the narrative shifting. The fans aren't just watching a game, they're watching a reckoning. Because for Powers, this isn't just about proving she belongs in the league. It's about proving she should have never been doubted in the first place. And for Reeve, this is about control, about putting out a fire that refuses to die. It's a chess match wrapped in a fist fight. And the best part? It's happening in front of everyone, on live TV, with social media dissecting every look, every timeout, every whispered conversation between Powers and the Fever coaching staff. Because even though the box score says Indiana versus Minnesota, the real matchup, Aerial Powers versus Cheryl Reeve. And the stakes? Oh, they're way higher than playoff seeding. We're talking about reputation, vindication, legacy, because Powers isn't just trying to win a game. She's trying to rewrite her entire WNBA story. And Reeve? She's trying to erase her from it. Let's pause for a second and appreciate the poetry here. Reeve, the hyper-calculated system coach, known for molding players into cogs in a machine, going head-to-head with the one player who refused to fit the mold. And Powers, the outspoken, hyper-emotional, loud-on-Twitter baller who refuses to shrink herself for anybody, is now being asked to do what Reeve never let her do in Minnesota. Lead. And she's doing it. Maybe not flawlessly. Maybe not with a 30-point performance every night. but with something far more valuable: confidence under fire. Because there's something incredibly powerful about watching someone walk into the lion's den and not blink. And that's exactly what Powers is doing. You can feel the energy in the arena shift. Suddenly, every fan in that building has picked a side. There are no neutral parties in this war. You're either Team Powers or Team Reeve. You're either rooting for redemption or rooting for domination. And the internet? Squarely on Ariel's side. Why? Because people love a comeback. Because people love messy, unscripted drama that you can't fake. Because Powers is doing what so many wish they could: stand face to face with someone who doubted them and say, "Watch me." Now, let's be real. This story could go either way. Maybe Powers has her moment, makes her statement, and fades back into the bench once Indiana starters are healthy. Maybe Reeve's tactics eventually work, and Powers gets shut down, proving all the doubters right. But maybe, just maybe, this is the start of something bigger. Maybe this feud, this tension, this soap opera in sneakers becomes a defining chapter in the new WNBA era. Because this league is changing. It's younger. It's louder. It's more online. And it's dying for players like Ariel Powers, unapologetic, emotional, messy, human, to rise up and take control of the narrative. And Powers? She gets it. She's not just playing the game. She's playing the media game. She tweets. She claps back. She posts cryptic Instagram captions. She turns every viral clip into a moment. Meanwhile, Reeve sticks to her press conference script, throwing shade in that calm, condescending tone that somehow feels more cutting than a direct insult. And so the rivalry rages on. Two women, two philosophies, two sides of the WNBA. One built on structure, the other built on defiance, and neither of them backing down. So here's the question. What side are you on? Are you rooting for the underdog with a chip on her shoulder and something to prove? Or are you loyal to the blueprint, the coach with rings and receipts? Because this isn't just a storyline. It's a reckoning. And however it ends, you're going to remember it. So drop your thoughts in the comments. Whose side are you on? Team Powers or Team Reeve? Is this redemption, revenge, or a total meltdown waiting to happen? And if you're here for the drama, the feuds, and the firestorms that turn basketball into blockbuster television, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Because in the WNBA, the buzzer doesn't end the game. Sometimes it just cues the next episode. Yeah, something smelled messy from the jump. But nobody, and I mean nobody, predicted just how chaotic it would get when she and Cheryl Reeve found themselves sharing hardwood again. Because this isn't just basketball beef. This is WNBA Shakespeare. This is betrayal, redemption, sabotage, pettiness, and pride, all wrapped in a 40-minute showdown with sneakers squeaking and camera lenses zoomed in for the drama. And what makes it so perfect? Neither one of them is pretending it's all good. There's no fake hugs before tip-off. No media-trained quotes about mutual respect. They're not fooling anyone. You can read it in their eyes. You can feel it in the air. Ariel Powers and Cheryl Reeve do not like each other, and they're not hiding it anymore. Let's talk about intentions. Because from the outside, it's easy to write this off as two strong personalities clashing. But when you look closer, it's way deeper than that. Reeve is a legacy coach. Decorated, respected, a tactician. She built the Lynx into a powerhouse, no question. But you know what else she built? A system. A rigid, no-nonsense, you follow the blueprint or you don't play type of culture. And Ariel Powers? Yeah, she was never built for that. She's a spark plug. Loud. Emotional. She wants the ball. She wants the heat. She's not just a player. She's a personality. The kind that can energize a team or burn it to the ground depending on the temperature in the room. And in Minnesota, it got cold. Fast. Reeve didn't just bench her. She silenced her. Took her fire and smothered it under rotations, passive-aggressive press conferences, and that infamous plane seat switch. You don't just forget something like that. You don't move on from the coach who treated you like a problem to be managed rather than a player to be unleashed. And now, on Indiana, a team that needs fire, Powers is back with a vengeance. She's not just playing to earn minutes. She's playing to prove that Cheryl Reeve got it dead wrong. And the fans? They're eating it up. This isn't just about Indiana versus Minnesota anymore. It's about catharsis. It's about revenge arcs. It's about one woman walking straight into the shadow of her old boss and daring her to blink. And Cheryl? Well, she's not blinking, but she's not smiling either. Because here's what makes this story so juicy. Reeve still can't let it go. Even with a stacked Lynx roster. Even with Ariel out of her system, off her team, and technically beneath her in the current league hierarchy, Reeve is still poking the bear. Subtle digs in interviews. Tactical shifts that only make sense if you know they're designed to target Ariel's weaknesses. It's personal. You don't build a game plan around a hardship player unless there's history, and Reeve is circling Ariel like a lion stalking something that once escaped. But Ariel? She's not running anymore. She's stepping into the spotlight, soaking up the chaos, leaning into the villain role when necessary. She knows she's polarizing. She knows there are fans who think she's drama. And guess what? She doesn't care, because for once, the narrative is hers. She's not just reacting to the league. She's driving the story. Every time she tweets something cryptic, every time she drops a post-game soundbite that sounds just a little too spicy to be accidental, every time she gets subbed in against Reeve's squad and looks across the court with that look, you know the one. It adds fuel to a rivalry that's gone full soap opera. And speaking of soap operas, have you seen the fan reaction? There are think pieces, fan cams, TikToks comparing past interactions, flight rosters, game footage from 3 seasons ago. People are literally going back to 2019 to analyze clips of Power's body language on the Lynx bench. This isn't just beef. This is cultural canon. And the league? Oh, the league is loving it. Because say what you will about drama, it gets people watching. It gives casual fans something to latch onto. Not everyone understands high screens and defensive switches, but everyone understands betrayal. Everyone understands a woman scorned. And that's what makes this saga so magnetic. It's not just that Ariel Powers was benched by Cheryl Reeve. It's that now she's back on the floor, back in the headlines, and back in control. This is her comeback arc. Her messy, chaotic, gloriously unpredictable comeback arc. And whether she drops 20 or fouls out in 12 minutes, you can bet your feed will be flooded with hot takes the second the game ends. Let's not pretend like this doesn't have ripple effects either. You think other players aren't watching how this unfolds? You think other coaches aren't wondering whether Reeve let go of a real asset? You think the Indiana locker room isn't buzzing right now with that extra jolt of, let's win this one for AP? Powers isn't just filling in. She's changing the temperature of the team. And with the fever already living in a pressure cooker thanks to Caitlin Clark's rookie season microscope, Powers is giving them a whole new gear. Because love her or hate her, she's not afraid. Not of Reeve. Not of the critics. Not of walking into an arena full of people waiting for her to fall flat on her face. And that kind of energy is infectious. Is it risky? Of course. She could get too in her head. The feud could take over the focus. She could try to force it and end up shooting the team out of the game. But if it works, if she locks in, keeps her composure, and drops a revenge performance for the ages, it will be unforgettable. And Cheryl Reeve? She'll have to watch it happen. Helpless. In real time. As the player she once benched becomes the face of her own undoing, if only for a night. That's the stuff legacies are made of. But also, that's the stuff they write sports movies about. And we're all sitting front row. So here's where we land. This rivalry is bigger than basketball. It's about control, identity, redemption, respect. And it's about the fact that women in sports are no longer apologizing for wanting all of that and more. Ariel Powers isn't just here to fill a roster gap. She's here to take up space. On the court, in the media, in Cheryl Reeve's memory. And whether this ends in triumph or disaster, she made sure we'll be talking about it. She knows this wasn't just a game. This was a reckoning, and it's going to follow her everywhere. Let's be real. Cheryl Reeve is one of the most respected coaches in the WNBA. Her resume is heavy with rings. Her track record? Impeccable. She's built dynasties, turned rookies into all-stars, and led teams with the kind of control that would make even the most rigid NBA coaches blush. But with Ariel Powers, she couldn't control the narrative. And that's what this is really about. It's not just a player versus coach feud. It's not even just about playing time or hurt feelings. It's about the one thing Cheryl Reeve can't diagram on a clipboard. What happens when someone you underestimated refuses to disappear? Because Aerial Powers didn't take the hint. She didn't fade away quietly. She didn't bow out of the league or beg for another shot with her head down. She showed up, walked back into the spotlight with more confidence, and basically said, "I'm still here, and I have something to say." Now, let's talk about what that does to a player's mindset. When you're brought back on a hardship deal, the message is pretty clear. We need a body. That's it. It's temporary. It's business. No promises. No loyalty. You're here to hold the rope while the stars rest or heal or figure it out. And when they're back, you're gone. But Powers? She didn't show up like a temp. She showed up like someone kicking down the front door with something to prove. And that shift, that refusal to shrink, is what made this whole situation so magnetic. You could see in her body language. She wasn't walking on eggshells. She wasn't checking over her shoulder. She was playing like the starting spot had her name on it in permanent ink. And you know what? It worked. Every time she hit a jumper or locked in on defense, the crowd reacted like it was personal. Because it was. Powers wasn't just playing for Indiana. She was playing for every player who's ever been benched for being too much, too loud, too emotional, too passionate. The league is full of players who've been told to tone it down, to be smaller, quieter, easier to manage. But Powers? She did the opposite. She went louder, more direct, more honest. And yeah, it made people uncomfortable, starting with her former coach. Because for someone like Cheryl Reeve, who operates in precision and control, watching Powers hijack the narrative like this, watching her become the headline, that's not just frustrating, that's threatening. Because Cheryl built her career on structure, on players executing the plan, on keeping the spotlight where she wanted it. But now, the spotlight moved, and it's shining directly on the one player she tried to erase. Let's not overlook what's really at play here. The WNBA is in a transformation era. You've got mega talents like Caitlin Clark bringing in millions of new eyeballs. You've got younger fans hungry for authenticity, players who aren't afraid to say what they feel, challenge authority, and make noise. This new W? It's about storytelling. And Aerial Powers? She's the plot twist. She's the wild card you didn't expect to become the emotional core of a franchise in distress. She's the lightning rod, attracting chaos, charging the narrative, making every second she's on the floor feel like something could explode. Because every possession matters. Every mistake will be dissected. Every bucket will be turned into a TikTok clip with dramatic music underneath. This is the social media WNBA. The messy, emotional, narrative-first version of the game. And guess what? It's working. More people are talking. More people are watching. More people are picking sides. This isn't just a game anymore. It's a movement. A movement led by players like Powers who understand that if you're not being talked about, you're not being remembered. And let's be clear, Powers is making sure she's remembered. Whether she stays on the roster past this stretch or not. Whether she becomes a starter or a sixth woman or just a spark off the bench. Whether Reeve ever acknowledges her value or keeps pretending she was always disposable. It doesn't matter, because now she's carved out a space. In the narrative, in the headlines, in the hearts of fans who see themselves in her fire. And Reeve? Well, she's got a different challenge now. Not just prepping for games or managing rotations, but dealing with the specter of the past. Because Aerial Powers isn't just a player anymore. She's a symbol of what happens when you bet against the wrong person. A symbol of how suppression doesn't erase passion. It just turns it into rocket fuel. And look, this story isn't neat. It's not clean. It doesn't resolve with a tidy handshake and a jersey swap. This rivalry? It's going to burn for a while. Every time they face off again, the tension will come rushing back. Every post-game handshake will be analyzed like a political summit. Every missed shot or turnover will be used as ammo by the other side. And honestly, good, because sports need this. We need grudges. We need uncomfortable truths. We need passion that doesn't apologize for being real. So here's the final question. What's next? Does Powers earn a full contract? Does Reeve make a move to bury the narrative again? Does the league lean into the drama and give us more of this mess we can't stop watching? We don't know, but we'll be watching, and we'll be talking about it. And so will you. So tell us, are you Team Powers or Team Reeve? Do you love the drama, or think it's a distraction? Should the league protect its legends, or let the chaos play out? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you're here for every play, every post, and every perfectly petty plot twist that makes the WNBA must-watch, subscribe. Because in this league, the tea is hot, the receipts are long, and the stories, they write themselves.